yourself. So let's start. Who's got a question out there?
This is kind of general, but I was just wondering if you could provide some insight as to how, like, if I can word this. Basically, I am aware that engineering, you would have projects and such that it would be kind of hands-on with sort of things. So could you just like explain how that would necessarily go? Because I know that there would be multiple things along those lines.
All right. And Jared, you are a mechanical or looking to be a mechanical, right? So first of all, everything we do
Yes, sir.
in engineering is pretty much hands-on, period. From your freshman class, you'll start either working on a circuit board for electrical, or you'll look at a robot for in mechanical. In civil, you'll probably look at materials and test some materials. The idea is that we're going to get you right from the beginning, starting to think about that the engineering world is a hands-on. I call it a contact sport. Seriously, you are going to be in contact with the material, just that simple. And so our goal, Jared, also is to have you as a freshman get to understand all of the projects that are ongoing. And look, we've got projects that the seniors are doing, but they would love to have freshmen and sophomores and juniors participating with them, right? Because, hey, more hands make it go better. And the more you can participate, the more likely you'll think of a project you might want to do at the capstone level, or how your competition project may be different, whether it's the mini Baja or maybe an SAAE airplane, or whatever it is that we're moving toward and available to have students that want to participate in that. So just make sure you come with your sleeves rolled up, because you're going to get your hands dirty, all right, right from the beginning.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, did that answer your question, Jared?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right, somebody else. If you don't ask me questions, I'm going to start asking you questions. We'll get that academic year started early for you. How's that? All right, Benjamin, go.
Okay, so I'm interested in doing electrical engineering. So going into that, what can I expect going into that class?
Well, the first thing is as I said, the freshman course. Well, first of all, everybody, you will be taking math and science courses right off the bat. Okay, because we have to have the math and science as the foundation, and we're going to build on that math and science that you had from high school as we go forward. So, Ben, that's the first thing you're going to do. Okay. The second thing is you're going to have a freshman course in electrical, mechanical, or civil. In electrical, I'll let Bob jump in here, right, Dr. Barsanti, right quick. But the real fact is you're going to be focused in on looking at some circuit board work, looking at how you're going to talk about professionalism. We're going to talk about ethics, because again, an engineer has to be above reproach when it comes to ethics, because as we design things, people's lives are affected by us failing, right? And so that's the first thing you need to think about, is that your freshman and sophomore year, well, freshman year totally, will be a lot of math, a lot of science. You'll take some humanities and social sciences as well, but then there's going to be a programming class, and there's going to be this hands-on electrical freshman class to make sure that you're already starting to think about how electric circuits work, how communications work, how signals work, how power and energy works, right? From the perspective of transmitting that energy across a distance. Dr. Basanti, is there something you would like to add?
Yeah, I'll say a few things. If you look in the catalog, it'll list the exact classes you'll be taking as a freshman, so there should be no surprises there. You'll be taking, we don't have English 101 anymore. We do a thing called freshman seminar and freshman writing. So that's 6 credit hours total. So you get a wide choice of topics to take your freshman seminar in. And there are some ones that are, really good for electrical engineers. There's one on artificial intelligence. There's another one on, military weaponry. So there are a number of ones that you might be interested in. And if you want some help with that, you could certainly ask for that, and we'll give you some guidance. In addition to that, you'll be taking, your math course. So you'll either take pre-calculus or you'll take calculus, depending upon how you score on the math entrance exam. It doesn't matter either way. You still get out of here in 4 years. It just depends on what course you'll take first. And then you'll take an introduction to electrical engineering course. And I think you'll find that to be a lot of fun. It does a lot of the things that Dean mentioned, but in specific, you know, there's projects of building simple circuits, both digital circuits and analog circuits. There's hands-on projects for building little robots. There's also some computer coding you do, and you code some simple devices, Arduinos and things like that. So you'll learn to solder, you'll learn to build circuits. So I think you'll enjoy that course as well.
And for all of you, mechanical or civil, it's the same thing. It's a different flavor, okay? Mechanical, you'll have hands-on. Dr. Abby, you want to talk about the hands-on project really quick, and then we'll go over to Dr. Davis.
Sure. Right now, the students are in mechanical. The freshmen are doing a gear design challenge, so they're trying to lift a certain mass at the quickest amount of time, most efficiently. They completed water bottle rockets last month. There's other things that they'll do. Take a look at the manufacturing lab that we have. Work with some composites later on, but they'll get introduced to all that starting their freshman year in our classes. So we got plenty of hands-on activities as well. So it's not just all theory. There's plenty of learning by doing.
Dr. Davis?
Yeah, so our freshman course covers civil and construction engineering, and you have hands-on projects on all these different areas, like a water filtration hands-on project, like a transportation design, structural design. It's either West Point Bridge or connects, and you know, the whole curriculum is very application oriented. We have laboratories that you take. You learn how to do surveying through the curriculum, and all of this kind of gets introduced to you in your freshman year through the freshman course.
So Jose, I just gave you a big snapshot of we hit the ground running, okay? You guys are going to hit the ground running anyway with your freshman 10 days doing the challenge week, and you'll be running almost every day. Well, we're going to continue that, but we're going to be running in the classroom with your hands and having you to experience things that maybe you haven't experienced before. That's really what it is about engineering is truly seeing how things work, thinking how things could work better. Because again, you guys are going to be creating the items out there over the next 40 years that will help us. As you can see, all of us are a little bit senior, have a better life as we get much more senior, right? All right, so next question. How about Cole or Jonathan, since I can't see faces? We'll pick on you. And Tomas, I saw that you were wearing a uniform. So is that your junior ROTC uniform?
Pardon, sir? Sorry, people walking into the room.
Yeah, was that your is that your junior ROTC uniform on?
Yes, sir. I'm currently at Riverside Military Academy. You can see my roommate in the background.
Okay.
So,
Good.
Today's an ICU day. Eventually, we'll be moving on to Class Bs and stuff like that, sir.
Okay, very good. All right, Jonathan and Cole, since you guys don't have your cameras on, I'm going to ask you questions now. What questions do you have? Come on.
Do y'all ever?
Okay, hey there, Cole. Go ahead, Cole. A picture.
I thought my camera was on, so that's my bad. The question I have is, do you think the course gets progressively easier, or do you think it will get like progressively harder? And I don't know if I asked that like well, but
I hear you.
Do
Listen,
you think it would get easier the more you do it? That's what I'm trying to ask.
Well, the answer to that is I'll tell you, there's some smart guys up here that had freshman year was easy for them. But I'm going to tell you, for me, I really sucked freshman year because it was freshman year. It was the first semester in college. Things were coming fast. And so I really struggled a little bit. But once I got my sea legs under me, by second semester, everything started coming into focus. And by sophomore year, I felt things were easier, mainly because I knew what college was about. I also was getting into my majors courses, right? The courses I wanted to be taking all along. The more I got into those, I'm going to tell you, junior and senior year, I loved every minute of it because I was exactly all I was taking was, in my case, mechanical engineering. All right. And so to me, it was this happiness all over the place, right? All right. But, you know, we have to go through those initial steps freshman year and take some of those classes. And as it turned out, the English, the history, the psychology, the social science classes, I didn't appreciate it as much until I got out of the military. I mean, out of college and into the military. And I was using that stuff a lot too. So what I did like was that I didn't have to write papers at that time, right? So to me, you know, I was happy to be writing lab reports instead. So I'll allow the other three to chime in and talk about how their experience went as they went from freshman on.
All right, I'll start. My experience is, I thought the classes got easier, and I like to think that it's because I got better. So as I kind of got built up, started off on this approach of, hey, this is what you need to know, take that, run with it to the next step, and to the next step and the next step. And pretty soon, you know, 4 years was over and I was doing some pretty cool things that I could use out there in the real Army. And then it carried me through a lifetime back into academics. But it's not that I like to think that I got better, not that classes got easier, but I also kind of like found my way and learned how to study. Knew the things that I needed to make me a better learner, and where I knew certain techniques wouldn't work with me, I found another way to learn the material. So in some ways, it's you know, it's learning how to learn, I guess, as simple as that sounds. But we've kind of grown up in a system here where a lot of information is given to us K through 12, and then all of a sudden you're responsible for a little bit of your own learning, and then pretty soon, 4 years later, you're responsible for pretty much all your learning. So, but once you figure out, like the dean said about getting your sea legs underneath you, I mean, at that point, it's kind of like Forrest Gump losing his braces, right? At that point, you can really run. So I think that's really the benefit you get out of a college experience here, is you find out where you need some support, some scaffolding, and other places where you know that this is going to be a breeze for you. But at that point, it's, you know, the world's your oyster.
Dr. Bersanti, Dr. Davis, no, they both had probably easy freshman years.
I think I would just add, I think it's an interesting transition for every student going from high school to college. So that, everybody has, kind of wake up call. It's a whole different level of learning and the environment that you're in, especially the Citadel has its own unique environment. You're in a lot of foundational classes, science and math classes, which are interesting, but for engineers, we want to apply all that to solving problems. And to me, when you get to your junior and senior year, that's when it really gets great, because you're in almost all engineering classes. You're using all the information that you have in your foundational courses, and now you're working to apply them and solve engineering problems and really lay the foundation for what you would do in the future in your career.
So I guess I'll add just a little bit to that. I thought that the courses got more interesting as time went on. My junior and senior year, where you take most of your engineering courses, were much more interesting than my first 2 years, when we do a lot of the background information. But if you do a good job in those first 2 years, I think you'll find those last 2 years are a lot easier. If you understand the physics and the math and the chemistry, then all the engineering courses, are fun. So I think the first 2 years are a little bit more challenging, and the last 2 years are a little bit more fun, especially if you did a good job the first 2 years.
So how many of you want to go into the military? Raise your hand. Just raise your hand so I can see it. All right. So 6 out of the 8 of you. Okay, great. So Louise and Cole, you're coming here for the experience, right? For the attention to detail, to place to make sure that you study at night instead of partying all the time, right? Is that correct, Louise?
Correct. Structure. Yes, sir.
Louise, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Just checking. Hey, listen, the one thing what you're going to find is, of the 4 of us, 3 of us have retired from the military, 2 from the Army and 1 from the Navy. And what we can tell you is, and 2 of us went to West Point, a service academy, and has the same atmosphere as the Citadel. And being able to be doing all the military stuff and go to college at the same time, it's doable. Anybody an athlete as well, wanting to be an athlete while you're here? perfect. Thomas, each of you tell me what it is that you're going to be an athlete in. Ben, Victoria,
Cross country.
cross country, great.
Track.
Track, okay. Thomas,
Rugby or drill team for me, one of those two.
okay. Rugby. Victoria, did you raise your hand? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, the ones you have said, first of all, cross country and track, those are really fit in well because you've got a very focused practice. Some of the practices in the morning with runs, Jonathan, in the morning, early morning runs. When everybody else is doing PT, the team is out running. Jonathan, Ben, the same thing. Thomas, the rugby is only in the afternoons. It's a club sport, right? But again, great opportunities. We have probably 20% of our engineers are athletes, and it's always amazing. A couple years ago, Dr. Basanti in electrical had a football player. He was one of the wingbacks. He was also our president of our Talbot, our SAME. He was also electrical engineer, and he was going into the military. And guess what? He was going into the reserves, and today he's working on a PhD. So talk about doing it all, right? And it was because he was able to come here and test drive everything. So again, Louise and Cole, you might get here and you might go, hey, maybe I do want to do that. And there's opportunities to get ROTC scholarships all the way up to start of junior year. Marine Corps, you can go to OCS before your senior year. And then, of course, you could always go in the National Guard of Reserves as I think, Thomas, you're in the National Guard of Reserves?
No, sir. Currently, just military school down in Georgia.
Okay, in Georgia? Okay, never mind. Okay, same thing. We have a number that are in the military, and it's always fun to watch. They'll have cadet rank on one day, and then on another day when they're wearing their ACUs, they'll have a specialist or PFC on, right? Because they're proudly serving in the military as well. So what other questions do you have that are generic? And you can ask anything because it's a small group. But if it starts to get, everybody really wants to get really detailed on civil and construction, mechanical, electrical, we'll split out because we do have that capability to split out into other sessions.
Y'all, you said that some of y'all attended West Point. I'm currently applying there. So say I don't get an appointment this year, would I be able to talk to y'all and you guys could give me tips on how to get in there my knob year?
Absolutely. Jonathan, I was talking to a freshman class just last Tuesday, and it was amazing in there. There were 8 people in there that had applied to go to West Point. The problem is that, you have to get a congressional nomination, right? And that means it's a senator or a House of Representative, and they can only have 5 sitting cadets at any one of the service academies at any one time. So if you think about you're there for 4 years, that means there's only 1 year in those 4 years that they probably can select 2 people off their list, right? So we have a lot of individuals that come to the Citadel as their, and I'm not going to say second choice. I'm going to say it's their choice if they don't get into one of the service academies, right? It's the non-military academy choice. And what we're going to try to do, Jonathan, is have you experience so much here and have you so excited about it that you're just going to stay. All right. But that's not, Westmoreland went here for a year and then went to West Point for 4 years, right? Because again, once you do your freshman year here, when you go to West Point, you're going to have to do that freshman year over. So that's something to think about as you go through it. Every once in a while, you get somebody goes, nah, I'm not going to do 2 freshman years, 2 knob years, a plebe year, right? But yes, we would be more than willing, Dr. Rabb and I, to work with you on how to work through that process. Second question I'm going to ask you real quick, Jonathan, and that's for anybody. Is your father or mother in the military?
My father was in the Army.
Okay. And there's one additional thing out there. Sometimes you can, but generally it's when they're still serving in the military that you can apply for a vice presidential nomination. But generally, the biggest step is to get that congressional nomination. So work hard on that because you've got a representative and a senator that represents your area, right? So got to work on both of those.
Yes.
Hey, Jonathan, Dr. Rabb here. I just wrote 3 letters of recommendation for a student to apply to 3 of the service academies. So as long as, you're doing the right things here, we've got no reservation about supporting you to reach your professional and your academic goals.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Other questions? I see Ben is wearing his Army t-shirt. Good. That's the old Army t-shirt. So did you get that from your father, your mother?
I got it from my ROTC, my
Oh,
JROTC.
very good. Very good. You don't see those many that often anymore.
No, we had it in our storage building.
That's good. That's like us when we were at West Point, Dr. Ebb and myself. We would always wear the old core shorts, make us think that we were, 4 or 5 years older than we were as we started off. Okay, Elena, it's your turn. Question.
So for the civil engineering major, like how do you incorporate like, the environmental aspect into the major?
Okay, can you say that again? Because you came in broken up. Your internet's breaking up a little bit.
For civil engineering, like how do you incorporate the environmental aspect into the major?
Hey, that's a great question. Dr. Davis, I'll let you jump on that one.
Yeah, so our curriculum is civil and environmental engineering. So we have 3 fantastic environmental engineering professors, and right now they're actually students are taking a course in water and wastewater treatment, which is very important. Obviously to the use of natural resources. We have courses in environmental engineering. Also, we have an environmental engineering lab. We have a capstone course where the students are preparing wetlands permits for the work that would be done to make sure that we keep the wetlands in a pristine type of environment and not have a bad impact through the construction of a new project. So, caring for the natural resources and protecting the environment is a huge part of civil engineering, and then many curriculums a number of years back changed to be civil and environmental engineering. So it involves, water primarily, but also wetlands, natural resources, also hazardous materials and the handling of hazardous materials. So, and we have, it grows to be other things as well, including sustainability would be another area, green infrastructure, things that would reduce the impacts of the resources that we use in the construction of resources or of infrastructure that we need for the built environment. And we have 3 students right now who are working on green infrastructure type undergraduate research, where they're looking at the benefits of street trees, also the impacts of flooding and saltwater intrusion. So, and then another one that's related to like urban heat islands. So you get a lot of interaction with faculty, and the 3 environmental engineering faculty that we have are all outstanding with the tremendous depth of knowledge in the field and different kind of threads.
And I think you'll find that that's true for all the faculty we have. I know you saw the videos. Really, the focus is that we have a lot of our faculty that are getting their PE, professional engineering license, because they have got that kind of skill set. We have a number that served in the military before going back and get their PhD. And there's a lot of them that is served in industry as well. We have one person that served for 25 years and a number of patents. We have another individual that spent a few years at a lab and has 7 to 8 patents now. So you'll be able to interact with these faculty and get a taste of other opportunities that may be out there for you that you've never ever thought about. And the real answer is that you want to try to experience as many things as you can, right? I mean, hopefully you're doing that in high school. As many things as you can, but being safe and legal, right? Okay, safe and legal. Let's keep that all up in front right there, all right? Oh, I see Elena laughing. Okay, good. All right, Louise, you got a question, and Victoria, you got a question. Now, come on.
What kind of projects would y'all cover in mechanical engineering?
All right, Dr. Rab.
Yeah. He's
on there twice. Okay, there we go.
Okay, got it now. All right. just trying to switch computers here. So some of the projects we worked on, of course, we have the Baja competition vehicles. We build our own dune buggy every year. This year it's kind of special because they want an all-wheel drive vehicle. The rules have changed on that. We've just registered for the competition. So we're going. We just got to finish up the vehicle. Some of the other projects we do, senior design, I'm doing a robotic hand right now. It's made national news. We've built wall crawling robots. We've done other cool projects. We've got we have a Bulldog Business Bowl here, so we come up with some unique ideas sometimes. So one of our faculty members has pushed forward a car wash, like a driveway car wash project. We try to use assistive technology also. So somebody was just asking me today for some help on what happens if somebody's one-handed and they need an Xbox controller. So I got a couple of teams working on that. Another one's working on a one-armed wheelchair. Projects we've do the junior year, we have them designed, put all the elements together from machine design and build a geared work cart. They'll go through some manufacturing, smaller projects, some 3D printed projects sophomore year. So we have projects integrated within our whole curriculum. I teach mechatronics. So right now I've got students building a subsystem for something larger. They got to incorporate a lot of sensors, actuators to that. And they started off, just in August without knowing any programming in C++. And now they're masters of it. They can probably program better than I can. So they come along pretty quickly here, but I think it's getting some interesting projects out in front of them that makes them want to, that stirs their interest and makes them want to dig a little bit deeper in these things.
Okay, Louise, it's up to you now.
If I choose civil engineer, will I have the same classes as the other engineering majors at the beginning?
The answer is yes for some of them. For example, the maths are the same. The sciences are generally the same. The only difference is civil engineering takes 2 chemistry classes, while the rest of them will take 1 physics and 1 biology, while the rest of them will take 2 physics, 1 biology, and 1 chemistry. So, but you'll have some overlap there. The maths for sure. The other humanities and social sciences classes, yes, but you'll be mixed with all the majors when you're taking those classes. As far as the civil engineering freshman class, it'll be civil and construction together in that freshman class, as well as second semester, there is a programming class that will have civils and construction in it. So yes, you will be mingling with all of these. This depends on the scheduling, but then there are specific classes that only really the engineers are in, and that's pretty much the math and a lot of the upper level science courses. Other questions?
Hi, Dean. I think there's a really good video that marketing put out there. If you wouldn't mind me sharing that, that's Kayla Funes' story about
Go ahead.
The stuff that she's done with Dr. Plumbley and her mission work in Haiti. So we'll go ahead and run that, and then hopefully y'all will have a few more questions afterwards.
My name is Kayla Funes. I am studying civil engineering, and I am the president of the Citadel Humanitarian Development Team. So we should probably do. So I come from an immigrant family. My dad is from Honduras. Growing up, my dad did not have access to clean water, electricity. So seeing how easy that is for me to get access to things like that, and people in this country to have access to clean water, really made me value what we have here. So last November, I had the opportunity to travel to central Haiti and learn about the infrastructure and the water systems that they have going on down there and what improvements need to be made. An eye-opening experience for me was when we were in Haiti, we actually had the chance to travel to one of the local schools down there, and we were getting a tour of their facility and their water systems, and I noticed how dirty one of the filters was. And so to me, that stood out to me because those kids were drinking that water and washing their hands with that water, and they'd wash their hands and then go eat lunch. And so I know that was a little something that I could do to change, and so we brought that back here. Our Humanitarian Development Club, it's a new club here on campus. where our mission is to work with the local community of Haiti and develop and implement sustainable solutions. And so we work in our lab here, our own Belt Lab, where we simulate the environment that there is in Haiti and develop and prototype water filters here that would be easy for them to build in Haiti as well. My favorite part about my trip to Haiti was definitely interacting with the local community and asking them, you know, hey, I'm here, I'm from Citadel, what can I do for you? So the most rewarding part of being part of this research project is definitely learning the value of selfless service. There's nothing more rewarding to me than knowing that my work is going for the greater good or for someone who needs it.
So as you can see, lots of hands-on every chance we get, whether that's internships in the summers that you can have. And again, the best way to get an internship after your freshman year is through your parents, most likely, because of the skill sets you haven't developed yet. But then, of course, we have all the activities we do in our freshman classes and the clubs that we have that are available, just like the humanitarian club, just as an example. Other questions? So Cole, what is your major you're planning on?
Mechanical engineering.
Okay, just wanted to check because I didn't have you on the list, you and Louise on the list that we got earlier in the week. So I just wanted to, I know Louise, you said civil, correct? Okay, very good. So other questions? This is your time. But of course, remember, you can always reach out to us. If you send an email to me or to Mr. Harris down there that are on the main webpage, we'll filter it out to whoever if it needs to go to somebody with a more specific answer.
Do y'all use programs such as like AutoCAD or Revit?
Yes, both. Even though you're thinking about ME, correct, Jonathan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, AutoCAD is one of the courses that is taught primarily for civils and Revit as well. But mechanicals use SolidWorks, which is very similar in some ways. It's a drafting package, but it also allows you to do analysis, which Revit does analysis on your AutoCAD project, right? So Dr. Rav, you want to add to that?
Yeah, the SolidWorks is pretty interesting. We find a lot of companies around here want students with the SolidWorks experience, some hands-on. So we've got plenty of licenses here on campus to use that software. But the nice thing about the SolidWorks is you can draw your picture and of course, make it 3D modeling. But just like the dean said, we can put a load on it. We can put a thermal, we can heat something up on it and look at the temperature distribution through it. So we can do lots of cool things with it. We have a couple of add-in packages if you decide to make a trailer or something like that and you got to hook up lights to it. Well, we can run an add-on package in there and tell you how much wiring that you're going to need for it. So there's a lot of cool things that we can do with SolidWorks, but when you get out to industry, some of them will have some very specific things that they use. But our folks have had no problems making that transition, picking up a more expensive package in the aero business like CATIA. But we can also do fluid and flow analysis with this too. So on the mechanical side, it'll be SolidWorks, but if you've got the AutoCAD experience, then you know how to draw a shape and extrude it. So you're in good shape.
So do any of you have a parent that's hovering nearby that has a question? I know we saw Elena's mom there, and don't hesitate to ask that question because this is for you just as much. We want you to be comfortable that your son or daughter is going to join us and that we are going to prepare you in 4 years to be a practicing engineer so you're ready to go to work. Whether you're in the military or not, we're going to prepare you to be a practicing engineer because we need those skills in the military. So you guys ready for my quiz? You got your paper and pen ready to go? Okay. Cole's over there. What? Maybe he's going to turn his screen off again real quick. I can see that. I can see it right in your face, Cole. No, I'm only kidding. This is for you.
I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that. Well, you didn't have it on to begin with, right, Cole? So, hey.
I thought I had it on. I messed up.
No problem. As you can see, we like to have fun. All right. It's all about fun because if you can't enjoy what you're doing, you need to be doing something different. All right. Now, there's going to be days that suck. I'm going to tell you, there's going to be days you're not going to want to get up and run in the morning. There's going to be days that you're going to say, I am just so tired, or I've got too many projects to do. The one thing I would pass on to you is, as you leave high school, most of you are probably able to have plenty of time to get all your homework done and do well. When you get here, I hate to tell you, but you're going to move from an hourly employee in high school to a salaried employee, which means you work until it's done. And that means that you're going to be needing to use weekends to study to get ahead and also to get caught up. All right. And so if you come with that mindset to give everything you got that freshman year and spend as much time as it takes to get all your grades as good as you can, as we said in the beginning, when you asked, does it get easier? The answer is yes. Because the more you get into that flow and knowing how much time it takes you, I was a person who used to take 4 hours for every English class because that's how long it took me to write the papers. All right. Just so that I could pass with a C. Now math classes, I was doing it in 45 minutes. And so the balance is having to budget it out 2 hours for every hour in class. You must spend time on every class before you go to class because you'll learn more by being there with some knowledge. You've got to at least get 6 hours of sleep. You got to stop and go to sleep so you can stay awake in class. You have to turn in solutions on time, even if it's only an 85% solution, because points are better than no points. Most of you never have had to deal with that before, of not having the project completely done before the due date gets right into your face, okay? But that's real life. And so we'll go through all that stuff and talk to you more about that as we go on. So Elena, I'm waiting for that question from Mom.
Elena got some paperwork about an Excel program. Can you give us some information about what that program is and how it benefits the students?
Okay, Dr. Davis.
It was an Excel program. Yeah, so that is a fantastic program that is allows you to get scholarship money. You enter in a like a learning community that you progress. You have a lot of like enrichment type activities, also additional seminars that come with your math and chemistry courses that you take. And we just have a lot of field trips, professional mentors. So it's a great opportunity for students to like become like outstanding learners and really understand what impact that students can have when they graduate in the field of civil engineering, and what a big difference that they can make, because infrastructure is a big part of equity. And like having an equitable community, a lot of it can be tracked back to like, how do we make decisions about where we put roads or where we put projects, and how do we engage communities in the use of tax money, and how do we really are leaders in diversity and equity in terms of the decisions that are being made to grow cities and to plan out how communities will be their ideas would be incorporated into the decision making of how things are built over time. So it's a very exciting program, and the professors that are in that are fantastic, and you bond together with this cohort that you would be in this learning community with, and the students that we have in that would really which I'm sure you can hear from, have a lot to say about how great that is, and what a big help it is to have the scholarship money, which is funded through the National Science Foundation.
And of course, Elena, it's only for those that are in civil or construction right now. And so the biggest thing is that you'll be mentored by those that were before you. And then of course, the requirement is you've got to mentor, once you become an upperclassman, the ones that come after you. So it's a great program in that sense. Okay. Jared, are you in California?
No, sir.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure if you were not related to the other Stoll that we had here that was from California. Just checking.
No, sir. If you don't mind, I was just gonna ask a quick question.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I understand that this would especially go for programs that a person would be unfamiliar with, such as like one of the other programs that was listed. But take AutoCAD, for example. Say if you knew like the basics of it, but you didn't know necessarily all of it, I'm sure that there would be a period that you would get like reintroduced or further introduced into how it all works, because I know there's a learning curve to it and it's not necessarily the easiest thing. So I was just wondering if there's like a period where you would like go over it necessarily.
Yep, absolutely. there's a whole entire course for SolidWorks, and because I think you're listed as an ME, correct?
Yes, sir.
And therefore you'll go entire course on that, right? For AutoCAD, it'll be second semester SolidWorks, second semester. Dr. Brasanti, you teach PSpice, right? In your second semester computer class, but also spreadsheets. You know, we're trying to get you all the different, some programming skills, because you never know when you're going to need some of those to solve problems. Dr. Brasanti, anything else to add?
No, not really. I mean, we do Google SketchUp. We teach, you know, traditional programming languages, C++, Java, MATLAB, which is a little more academic flavor, PSpice, other circuit analysis type software.
So each of the majors will teach something different in their second semester based upon the tools, Jarrett, that you will use in that program. So they'll become, but again, as Dr. Rab said, if you have AutoCAD experience from high school, doing SolidWorks, there's a lot of transition that's very, very similar. Same with SketchUp, right? Google SketchUp. So there's a lot of transition, a lot of similarities between them, but they're very specific as you further go along. And our goal is to actually get you to use software that you would use in industry, so that when you walk out the door, you're familiar with what you're trying to use, right? And there's nothing better than that. And that's the other thing is, for all of you, we'll be teaching you codes and ASTM standards for materials and testing, because that's what the industry expects you to know. And our job is to help you be ready to walk out the door and land that really good job within 2 months of graduation. We run 100% employed within 2 months of graduation. And we normally have about in the low 90s by the time we get to graduation. And the only ones that are not hired, most of them are entertaining more than one offer, or they're waiting for an offer from a company that doesn't make an offer until sometime late May. So good news for all of you and your parents. Other questions? Come on, this is your time. And there's no stupid question, by the way. Come on, nothing stupid.
So I'm taking an engineering class at my school. So I've been using AutoCAD and Revit a lot. So like I know the ins and outs of it. Would I still have to take an AutoCAD class there?
Dr. Rab can answer that, but the answer is yes, because you'll be learning SolidWorks as an ME, Jonathan.
Yeah, so in mechanical, we prefer SolidWorks. So there's not going to be a class that you will get credit for with that AutoCAD and that Revit. But when you take that class as a sophomore, you're going to go into some of the capabilities a whole lot more. And at that point, you'll learn enough engineering that understand what you're looking at in there. It's great that you have a leg up knowing how to do some of this computer-aided drafting, but the preferred software we use is mechanical engineers because of all the analysis tools built into it. And what we're seeing that students need later on in their design courses and post-graduation is going to be SolidWorks. So guys like you, I'm going to rely on to help others. So you're going to be a very valuable resource in those classes. But the things that you've learned already, it's not lost material. But look, in your school that you attend, your high school, whatever, they can't teach you all this type of stuff because they have no idea if they're going to prepare you to be a civil construction, electrical computer, a mechanical industrial engineer. They have no idea. So they teach you something that they can teach, make it a little universal for the whole student population. When you get here, we're going to dive deep into some of those packages. So if you're going to take the AutoCAD version over in civil, you're going to learn stuff that you never knew about in high school. You're going to have more capabilities with it. So like I said, you got to know a little bit of engineering in order to fully employ those tools. So it'll be an exercise, but guys like you, I am counting on for the class to be an easy A, but also to use you as a resource to help out your classmates.
Again, that's the first step, Jonathan, that leadership that we always work on, right? A lot of times it's us helping each other, and that's a cooperate and graduate, and that means helping others learn knowledge as well, especially if you're strong in it. And that'd be true math, English, history. Some of you will be natural writers, and some of us engineers have graduated, have moved toward engineering because we're not sure we want to really be writers, right? And so therefore your strengths will be able to help you become an asset to your classmates. Okay. What else? Elena, does mom have another question? No? Okay. Well, listen, if you don't have any other questions, we'll let you guys get to your studies and stuff. For how many of you are on Zoom only for school? Elena, the rest of you are going face to face? No, Jarrett, you're not?
So we use like Google Meet, so it's basically like Zoom, but more or less it's virtual. But starting November 4th, it's like a hybrid situation. So you're going to start eventually going back and then eventually full time. So in the process of it.
Well, just so you know, we're doing a hybrid, Jarrett, where we teach half the, if the section is small enough to fit in the room with social distancing of 6 feet, we teach everybody in the classroom with a mask. We're wearing a mask, they're wearing a mask. But we're also, if the class size is too big for the room to be socially distanced, we have half of them on Mondays in there. And then on Wednesday, they flip. The other half go on Zoom and the other half are in the classroom. So you're getting 50% of the classes right now, you're in face-to-face, but you can always come and see your professor who are always around all the time, right? Also, if a person happens to be sick, not necessarily from COVID, because we've got some kids that have been sick from other things, we tape record the classes as well and post those to our learning management system so that we can catch everybody up. And just so for you all out there, we've had very, 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 very few cadets get sick with COVID. Most of our kids who have been quarantined is because of someone they were in close contact with that got COVID. And so we had to quarantine them. And as it turns out, most of them don't get COVID, but they just have to be quarantined because they were in close contact. I'm sure you're experiencing that in your schools and things like that. I just had my grandson close contact with a kid that came sick from a Boy Scout event this weekend, right? But they were outside, but he's still close contact. So he's being quarantined from his school right now, which is face to face. So interesting times for us all, isn't it? But we'll get through it. All right. Any other questions? Last question. All right. Well, thank you all. We're looking forward to seeing all of you join us next August. But if you have any questions at all as we go through this process, do not hesitate to reach out by phone call or email. My phone call number and email is on the main webpage. Just reach out. If I can't answer the question, I will definitely get you in contact. As you can see, these 3 department heads have all the answers for the programs, and we'll get you in contact with them and get that answer. And I don't care if that's your question or your parents' question. It's all a good question, okay? So please, you guys be safe, and thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at the Citadel. Y'all have a great, great night.